Welcome back to my channel, Famous and Fabulous. Rock has long been defined by Stevie Nicks. Famous for her ethereal Prince, the vocalist, and 76-year-old songwriting that is emotionally charged. Her legacy is based on many years of songs that top the charts, are recognizable performances and really personal lyrics influenced by encounters and interactions that have accompanied her throughout her career. Despite the fact that there is one aspect of her life that is less well-known, centered on a robust and durable, Linux is talking about love, which is uncommon. This is opening out for the first time. Regarding the individual who left it, it left a lasting impression on her heart. An account of romance, bereavement, and relationship type that endures. It is the man who inspired a few of her most enduring. They never fully let go of music. Lindsey and Stevie Nicks in the 1960s, the beginning of Buckingham's musical career at Ethereal High School in Menlo, California. Their initial encounter resulted in a strong connection on both a professional and influencing Afrock, and RO's future bond was incredibly creative, and complexity gained notoriety as their harmonies continue to be taught in schools, performed together at a senior event. With a sincere tone, energy alluded to the famous after graduation, their paths parted. Partnership will continue momentarily, but after 2 years, Nicks was invited to join Buckingham. The partnership with band Fritz represented the start of their rock music career. Soon, they were becoming well known. Events like the Jefferson Airplane and Propelling Ginto or Janis Joplin, the thrilling heistress, the location of Fritz Nicks' rock music from the 1960s lost out in. In the early 1970s, Buckingham became more intimate. They developed from ardent lovers to a channeling their passions together, and feelings come in there. They made their debut in 1973. Buckingham Nicks put out a record. Collectively, however, the record failed it cleared the path for business success, their future, and sparked curiosity. Following Mick Fleetwood, an invitation that would change their lives, joined the Fleetwood Mac group in 1975 signified a crucial turning point. The introduction of the fourth pair into the band brought fresh vitality to the organization, put a great deal of stress on their relationship while focusing on the pressure, and whispers surrounding a revolutionary album started to show the problems all of a sudden. Fame combined with the ferocity of the creative process started to undermine their bind-in. While documenting rumors in 1976, Nick, the bond with Buckingham, had retreated, breaking moment of their painful separation, but prompted did most of the famous songs from rock history. Nicks composed a lovely song about dreaming, love lost, but Buckingham retorted with the gut-stimulating energy of Goya faces their own difficulty in their own way. Independently conveyed through their music, rumors have struck a chord with millions of people. Of Levo Von's best-selling products following her romance with Nicks came to an end. Buckingham was a musical collaborator, still going, but it wasn't free. Challenges the conflict between them became a Fleetwood Mac trademark, putting energy into their performing and incorporating complexity into their captivating songwriting. After her dramatic split from Nick, Buckingham was seen dipping in a new level of fame and creativity. Declaration took place during this whirlwind. J.D. Souther, whom she met, played a brief but important part of her affection. The lives of J.D. Souther and Stevie Nicks. Initially, I met in the crowded, the music scene in the early 1970s. Sutherland had already gained widespread recognition, a panning in the country rock scene, wrote a number of noteworthy hits for the Eagles, and creating a name for himself with his own compositions. Fresh following her breakup with Lindsey Buckingham, flying high on the triumph of Fleetwood Mac, Souther was contacted by Nicks, who realized that the rollercoaster experience was in the synergy spotlight. They have a known electric link for their heartfelt and impassioned lyrics performances, as well as their seeming bond went beyond taps for physical attraction. Despite their romance, they delve deeper, have a connection through art with brief, yet packed with common passion of music, and respect for one another. Further inventiveness in the song industry that also brought them together presented several significant risks to the 1970s. There was a lot of music. Usually, male-dominated groups marginalize, Women are mainly observing them via the perspective of their exchanges, with musicians who are men. Nicks is committed to separating from her. Identify as a creative person, but she learned Donis F. is having trouble with this field. Challenge while managing her personal living with calmly. She saw male musicians like Soother had certain benefits, and regard for masculine artists in general didn't understand this. Nicks saw them balance. She was turning into a one-off, prominent female. Rock musicians, such as Relationship, formed. She went on tour assistance to these limitations, utilizing her vast influence to support both hers and other females in the occupation. Her relationship with Souther is sarcastic, to strengthen her resolve, received praise for her abilities instead than compared to her love relationships. The short-term relationship remained intact. Its impact on Nicks's creative enhance. Souther's musical proficiency. His relationships in the larger Earth music community. Nicks was introduced to FR inspiration in this scenario, and prospects for their partnership in both the personal and professional spheres aspects played were crucial. In creating a voice that has been extinct as a following their separation, the composer and artist Nicks poured her music, which includes subjects from her life. Self-reliance, strength and chase away from the recognition became much more obvious. She composed songs such as After the Has anyone ever written about glitter fading? Anything is commonless in your case. To be impacted by this phase of her life, but Nicks constantly hurried kept the surroundings mysterious. Her musical inspirations, the initial happiness vanished after a brief involvement she was seen with Southern Nicks, become involved in what would eventually, her antagonistic connection with Nicks's romantic history and her connection to Mick Fleetwood possessed a significant and complex role in their personal lives. Life is closely related to the tumultuous and dynamically rich in art of eventually, Fleetwood lost his buddy, impacted their band's trajectory. And rock music's larger context is their fair's foundation was established in the midst of the chaotic atmosphere of Fleetwood Macs. Throughout the 1970s, the group was enjoying their greatest level of success. Reports of a well-known classic record, but employee relationships were breaking down. Below the surface just now, Stevie Nicks had ended her enduring love affair with Lindsey Mick Fleetwood against Buckingham's. Being married to Jenny Boyd was dangerous. Nicks maintains equilibrium during emotional turmoil, and Fleetwood had a reputation for imaginative vitality, resistantly drawn to one another's lines. Distancing themselves from their professional person, life became hazy, leading to a passionate but challenging romance. The connection between Fleetwood and Nicks were busy with there were ups and downs throughout their affair, a period of feverish travel plans, lengthy studio hours and continuous media, and their bandmates' attention, Fleetwood Mac's, was truly shaped by romanticism. Music is a roller coaster of emotions, went through and gave it a very unvarnished feel. Songs that fans truly connected with created a great deal of chaos to other members, influenced the dynamics of the group. I had to deal with the consequences, attempting to keep a professional disposition in every circumstance. Personal Buckingham has been in a state of anarchy. Was actually seeing his ex with someone else is difficult. Band member, similar to many collaborations that originate from a filthy background. The romance between Nick and Fleetwood wasn't intended to persist only because of the conclusion of the romantic opponent did not imply. They were unable to remain near, and Fleetwood needed to learn how to continue to collaborate with. Fleetwood for me, Mac turned their connection, intimate companionship and love of music, was not without its difficulties, yet it showed that they were dedicated to the group and each other after leaving. During a challenging time with Fleetwood, Stevie Nicks came to terms with herself, captivated by yet another fable of the world of music was in when they triumphed in 1977, she was riding high. Of the widespread reports about Fleetwood Mac's album, about Anthony Don Henley, the drummer, the Eagles' cold vocalist was also amazing. When these two when stars collided, sparks shot in all directions. Henley and Nicks were well known for their strong stage presence and their capacity to convey intense emotions through them. Memorable songs they produced, a lovely couple brought together by their love of music and a shared being. aware of the pressures that surfaced with notoriety, but that fierce fervor reunited them and resulted in their decline balling. The requests of their bands and the difficulties associated with being in public connection resulted in a significant amount of tension. The temptations of the busy traveling and living in the spotlight and their powerful personalities make them, in the center, everything is somewhat volatile. Of this tornado, romanticism, Nicks was taken aback. That changed everything. And she understood. She found out she was expecting a child on a emotionally charged roller coaster and challenging. Henley and Beth Nicks' choices were, throughout their professional lives, they have to cope with hectic tour schedules and promises. For next releases, the idea, although the products were alluring, it seemed that would not be appropriate for their current location. Egoing. Following a great deal of introspection, and definitely after giving it some thought, Nicks had to make the tough choice to stop the Nancy. This decision is extremely intimate, would be extensive ramifications for her and Henley. This turned into a pivotal moment throughout their relationship that will tint their exchanges for many years to come. After making this decision, we noticed a feather. Romantic partnership over time breaks a relationship. The significance of what may have been paired with their career's unrelenting pace demonstrated. Too much for their youthful romance to bear in spite of their romantic relationship. Stop the effect of their time combined would still have resonance. In their songs, Stevie Nicks and Jimmy's mood mixed with Onique's their professional connection with a personal link. It had a big impact on her musical profession as well as the music landscape. In I Was Already a Rock Star in the early 1980s, Celebrity, who was also a budding producer, after completing her debut solo album Balana, right from the start there was some had a deep connection with them and ability to comprehend and improve's distinct voice and passion complemented hers flawlessly as they invested a number of horse professional calibration in the Studio A component of their relationship starts to slide in the direction of something more. The production of Belladina was a personal one, pivotal moment in their respective lives, personal and professional lives, late spending evenings together, writing tunes, the shared joy of producing something specific and intimate character of that. Their development was fueled by the creative process. Nicks wasn't as attractive as Yinny, just an accomplished producer, someone who genuinely comprehended her artistic abolition vision and contributed to its realization. Deeper link with several layers of intricacy of their work. Yvonne's influence on Nicks' songs became increasingly noticeable, helping to mold the sound that will all her songs from her solo career, including Stop Dragging My Heart As I Approach the Age of 17. Surrounding were wonderful. Cooperation produced outcomes, but there were changes in the collaboration. Nick had 2 juggling balls, pledges made to Fleetwood Mac while Niwaspi, beginning her own career, establishing himself as a leading difficulty facing the industry's producers, taking care of a love relationship with someone professional collaboration in high rock and roll's high pressure environment took a toll in spite of these obstacles. The significance of their grew, close while working together. Both personally and professionally, as the partnership developed, they were capable of negotiating the fine balance between their past closeness and present collaboration. They arrived at their even when a romantic relationship did not mean cessation of their mutual impact. Even other professions and lives merged into one. Influential people in the music industry. Later on, co-founding Intercope Records played a significant role in the development of rhythms. After that, Electron Nicks rode the waves of celebrity while coping with individual nicks at adversity in 1982 achieving professional success. The diagnosis of Robin brought sadness. She had leukemia that was terminal, during the time that Hirse is expecting her first kid. The heartbreaking news devastated Nick's heart as the chef sang about the likely demise of the health of her claws. Estes and Robin deteriorated. Nicks promised herself she would be there for her. Pal in her last Kim Anderson, Robin's spouse, was Heartbroken Garda, which results in a powerful glink, along with a choice that will be regarded as an innocent endeavor to fulfill Robin's last wish, by taking care of Anderson and her son Nicks, suddenly choice to wed within 3 months. Later, after Robin passed away, their marriage was greeted with astonishment, and worry from their loved ones and friends perceived it as a hasty choice taken from. Sorrow Nicks would ultimately acknowledge, that the union was a fight to keep Robin's memory alive, into Keith's strong bond between a mother and her offspring were created when they were shared. Loss started to diminish and reveal their differences. Nicks relished the liberty and excitement in spite of her rock and roll way of life. It began to feel like two. However, domestic endure attempted to conform to the responsibility. Nicks decides to go after a demanding career. After just 8 years, they split up. Legal divorces within months after marriage in 1984. The time spent with Joe Walsh by Stevie Nicks' significant event in her life that was full of fish and difficulties and a melancholy conclusion, an effect on both of them, as well as their music. Their relationship began in the both were at the height of their careers were taking off. Thanks to Walsh, Fleetwood Mac's solo project was already well known for being an excellent guitarist. How valuable Math's connection was to Nicks. She thought she had a reel in Walsh. They were partners and equals. They will succeed in their own careers, with great regard, and the bond due of their shared appreciation, of their love of music, which is motivating in Nicks, encouraging one another artistically. Walsh was frequently called her soulmate, demonstrating his sincere intention to her, but that the weight of fame and their personal issues put strain on their partnership after several years together. They determined that it would be best to parted ways with their loving partner, concluded amicably. The effect of their Nicks's musical life during his time at Tagatha huge. Walsh continued to be a close friend and certain, and his voice is still audible. The music of Nicks has been impacted by the appreciate that, in contrast to her prior relationships that are defined by. She struggles with competitive power, felt on an equal footing with Walsh and supportive, and truly understood one another. Both as artists and as individuals battling pressures from their families during their Walsh's great imagination is blank. Z of Nicks's most poignant and inspirational tuneness. Her vocals and guitar skills complemented each other perfectly. Even as they addressed issues of addiction, together in spite of those obstacles, our connection became stronger, and we were more than only romantic partners. They were comrades in their personal disputes. Sharing the highs and lows, the declines in their fame caused them intimacy. Cultivates. Nicks hadn't often experienced intimacy in the previous connections. The degree of their melodies were filled with love, but they ultimately realized they had to divide to concentrate on each. Mukavari's was a challenging individual choice, but it came from the desire to observe and a positional fluff out for one after they split up. Nicks experienced a challenging time. Desperate and in self-analysis, she subsequently disclosed that Walsh's conclusion was among the most challenging. Actions she had taken in the past from their isolation stimulated her imagination, and they were able to maintain their deep connection, to convert love into a lengthy and enduring friendship capacity to stay, remained in touch despite their breakup, demonstrated just how much they truly took care of one another years afterward. Walsh and Nicks considered their collaboration entails a mix of off-Nicks. Walsh felt sentimental and sadness. Despite everything, her life's love was inspired in a manner that was unique to. That lyrical sentiment has really influenced. Listeners might relate to her songs in her individual experiences. What sets Nicks apart as an artist is her talent for changing her own circumstances, transforming events into narratives. For her, songs may resonate with everyone. Often, they are really intimate audiences because they make advantage of the typical emotions of love, and heartbreak possesses a remarkable capacity for a change in specific instances from her life into touching tales of desire, reminiscence, and acquired knowledge. Additionally, she is forthright about what motivates her. Music has created a unique connection with her followers, can observe thestrins from her. Her love life is reflected in the lyrics, downs as though they get a glimpse of her private voyage. This kind of cultivated fans for years which led to them to consider Nicks to be more than simply drug star, but also as someone they can relate to her in their own lives. Changing perspectives on love, and in her songs, relationships are evident, while her intense affections, powerful song that was influenced by her youthful days. Later works often mirrored. More paraelegant interpretation of Admire This Development represents Nicks's own journey, evolving from a young lady negotiating the chaos of romance with a seasoned death artist, has a wealth of stories to share.